Good afternoon, Dr. Rana, or is it evening for you?
It is well and truly evening, but good afternoon to you.
And where are we talking? Where are you?
We are across a very big pond of the Atlantic, so I am phoning in from London.
Ah, okay, so it must be, I guess, about 8:30 your time.
Yep, 8:30 indeed.
All right. I'm not even sure where to begin, but let me ask you this. Why are women such a mystery to men? I mean, after all these years, you'd think that they would have figured us out by now.
So the thing is, I like to think of a woman being an incredibly exotic rose. And you know when you try to peel the petals of a rose, it's not like a straightforward flower where it has sort of 6 petals and something in the middle. It's much more complex than that. And it's actually the way men's brains work. So men's brains, they tend to be much more logical thinking. And this is obviously a big generalization, but more head-led rather than heart-led. So their left side of their brain is often more dominant, which means it's almost like a 1 + 1 = 2. And, of course, where we are this incredibly beautiful, gorgeous, exotic flower, then men can't work us out because 1 + 1 is never 2 for a woman. Or it might be one day, but the next day it's more a case of 1 + 1 is 15. And, of course, so they can never fit us into a box. That's the simplest way of explaining it.
Well, and it's so true. I mean, it is men are from Mars, women are from Venus scenarios. So I need to ask you, what are the top 5 things that everybody should know about women?
Oh, the things that we should know about. Are we talking to men now, or are we talking to fellow women?
No. Well, you know what? Either or.
Okay. Well, we are not predictable. We are unique.
Yes.
In the same way that every single person is unique in their own right. We are highly intuitive and perceptive in the main. We do, so I'm talking obviously about women now, have more. This is a big generalization. So saying low self-esteem is not quite the right way, but we have more of the way that we use language is just generally softer. So often we might apologize for something. We might start a sentence. If we want someone to do something and we don't want to be completely like a man, but therefore we think by being feminine, we almost say, oh, would you mind just doing that? Or I'm sorry, but could I ask you to do that?
Oh, that is so true.
And asking, yeah. So we're almost apologetic for ourselves. And another big thing we often do is undervalue ourselves. That's definitely a much more common issue with women. And those are often the blocks that hold us back from being successful.
Well, and I want to get into some of the obstacles, but let me ask you this before we do that. Why is it that a man's happiness is pretty much reliant upon understanding how a woman thinks?
I love it. So why is man's happiness? I think again because their natural nature is about trying to put something into a box and therefore understand it. So when they can't put it into a box, when there's something they're looking at and they can't suss it out, they get irritated. If you think about the whole argument between reading an old map and a sat-nav, right? Yeah, how many arguments would go on in the car? If the woman was the one who was trying to read the map and the person in the driving seat was a man and he'd be getting annoyed. Yeah. I even remember when I got married, I asked people, tell me what the secret to a good marriage is. And someone said to me, decent sat-nav. You know?
And as you were talking, by the way, I have to tell you, I had flashbacks of my parents in their old VW Bug driving down the road with the map out, and boy, there were an argument or two along the way.
Exactly. And so it's the same kind of thing, and this all goes back to our pattern of brain things. So you put a group of men together, and they're absolutely fine because they're all thinking the same way. You put them with a group of women, other than obviously the potential sort of sexual irritation or attraction or whatever may go on, and we all let off different pheromones and make people react in different ways. But we also emanate a different level and a different type of energy. So here's an interesting thing you may not have realized about men and women, in that actually where we all have energy, women typically have about 60% feminine energy and 40% masculine. Whereas for men, it's vice versa. They have 60% male or masculine energy and the 40% feminine energy. This is obviously sort of average figures. So what happens is, why are they unhappy when they can't work out women? Because we are attracted to what we recognize. Like energy attracts like energy, and therefore we're not the same. We are not the same energy. And so they, in this attempt to try to understand us, they're trying to match our energy, and it just doesn't work because we emanate at different levels of energy.
We do indeed. All right, let's move on to obstacles. And this is quite timely because yesterday I had a guest on the show talking about there's going to be, for the first time ever in the city of Winnipeg, an entire conference which is based on trying to get women in the trades, because women have not been too successful in trades like construction, heavy construction, and welding. And so tell me about, some of the obstacles women face on their way to becoming successful, whether it is in a trade or whether it is in the office.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have the kind of the obvious ones that it's a shame it happens, but it does still happen, of sexism and racism, and obviously the monetary inequality that women get paid. But if we put that aside as them being, that's quite obvious. Part of it is actually, if I give you one, we have two. If we are full-time workers, typically we have two full-time jobs because we are carers. As women, we are carers, and this may be to a spouse, a partner, children, parents, friends. And so we invest an awful lot of time and energy in having to do that, which is effectively a full-time job, as well as having to excel within our careers. And then if we take that a step further, if we do have family, again, then obviously it's about needing to finding the right balance, be it work-life balance, or it's sometimes referred to as our work-life blend, of the guilt that we eat ourselves up with to feel like we're really good in the workplace, but at the same time, we want to be able to spend time with our children or with our families, and quite often it's guilt that holds us back. And so progressing from that, you can guess where I'm hinting at. Actually, we hold ourselves back because we don't stand in what I call our feminine power. We don't play to our strengths, our strengths of actually, it's okay to use our intuition. And to be powerful and successful, we shouldn't be competing with men. We should be standing in our power and using our strengths, using those strengths of the fact that we can multitask, using those strengths of the fact that we are more perceptive and more intuitive, using the fact that we can communicate in many ways more softly. Just because we communicate softly doesn't mean we're not leading, and we cannot be leaders. And therefore it's understanding that rather than trying to be like a man. I
love it. And I agree with everything you say. Dr. Rana Al-Falaki, I want to encourage people to get your book, Women Who Want More, How to Create a Balanced and Fulfilled Life. I would imagine, Dr. Falaki, it is available on Amazon and the like?
It is, absolutely, in all versions, even an Audible book as well.
Dr. Rana, thank you.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to speak to you. Have a good afternoon.
Ta-ta for now. TTFN.